Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Spencer. And of course, we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz. This is the Different Spectrums podcast. Yes, welcome.
Hello.
We talk about movies, shows, and the mental health aspects surrounding them. We also have some laughs, so don't take us too seriously. Also, don't forget to run up those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. So today,
hit that subscribe down low.
You should have said that when I was saying it, not afterwards, jackass.
You went too fast.
No, it's the same fucking thing every time, and you're like, "You're too fast, jackass." All right, so now whatever. Today, we're going to be taking a look back at Black Panther, the first Black Panther. Before we checked out the scene with I forgot what his name was. He was stealing the vibranium.
Claw.
Yeah, we did the claw scene where people were, filming him, and the claw was trying to get T'Challa to do something stupid. In front of people.
Violent. Right? Yep.
So today we're actually going to be taking a look at the two scenes from the Ancestral plane. So he went there in the beginning of the movie and then at the end. So we're going to be taking a look at those scenes. Also, a little bit of updates for the show. Soon, we'll be having our own website / merch coming out. Coming soon. Soon. So check those out and buy things.
Buy things you don't need, please. Buy them.
Yes, and spread the love and be like, yeah, this is my favorite podcast right here with the big ass yellow print on it.
Yeah. It's a smiley face or Colby cheese.
Either way, you remember it.
Yep. Is that a piece of cheese? Yep. Big piece of cheese.
That's right. Just with letters on it. All right. Naz, what are we going to be talking about today from these scenes?
We're going to be talking about Black kittens. Black Panther. Meow. Meow. Meow mix. Please deliver. Yeah, man. So we're going to be talking about a few different things. We'll see where the ancestral plane takes us. We'll go a little here, go a little there. Yeah. But Spencer brought up, we're going to talk about family, change, maybe morals, values, ethics, going against your father, going against the grain of your lineage, maybe culture, maybe background, maybe economic status, whatever it is. Might dip into some dilemmas, some social dilemmas, and then how you may make some choices that maybe your culture wouldn't make, or maybe your region specific wouldn't make. And then how do we get out of those pickles? How do we self-actualize, become more autonomous, even in a collectivist society? So we might talk about some of those things. We also might try and relate this like meditation, because it's like a super cool scene.
Yes.
So, every once in a while, we like to dabble in the drugs. And, we go to the plane.
We? Mr. Papa Gummy.
Yeah. One butt gummy. Just one.
Tastes delicious.
Well, it's in my butt, so I don't know how delicious it tastes.
All right.
It's from New Girl. We'll get to the scene. I'm so sorry. Winston gives the cat meds, and it's a butt med. I'm sorry. All right.
Oh my God. Now everybody's going to...
Allow the heart-shaped herb to restore the powers of the Black Panther and take you to the ancestral plane. T'Chaka, we call on you. Come here to your son. 'Cause Maku.
Baba, onyana wam.
I'm sorry. Stand up. You are a king.
Into nekukhathazayo nyana.
Andiqondi indirede, Baba.
Ubomi bakho bonke buhlala uzilungiselela ukuba yikumkani. Ndikufundisa, ndikuqeqesha. Uhleli apha ecaleni kwam.
That is not what I am talking about. I am not ready to be without you.
A man who has not prepared his children for his own death has failed as a father. Have I ever failed you?
Never. Tell me how to best protect Wakanda. I want to be a great king, Baba. Just like you.
You're going to struggle. So you'll need to surround yourself with people you trust. You're a good man, with a good heart. And it's hard for a good man to be king. Breathe. T'Challa, breathe. Breathe.
He was there. He was there. My father.
Allow the heart-shaped herb to give you the powers of the Black Panther and take you to the ancestral plane.
What did I tell you about going into my things? What did you find?
Your home.
I gave you a key, hoping that you might see it someday. Yes, the sunsets there are the most beautiful in the world. But I fear you still may not be welcome.
Why?
They will say you are lost.
But I'm right here.
No tears for me?
Everybody dies. It's just life around here.
Well, look at what I've done. I should have taken you back long ago. Instead, we are both abandoned here.
Well, maybe your home's the ones that's lost. That's why they can't find us.
Breathe, my king, breathe.
Another king. Yeah, go ahead and burn all that.
My king, we cannot do that. It is our tradition.
When I tell you to do something, I mean that shit. Burn it all!
I must bury him. Come in, come in.
Amaku, Kamaku, Amaku, Kamaku, Kamaku. Wake up, T'Challa. Wake up.
Yana. The time has come for you to come home and be reunited with me.
Kuba, why didn't you bring the boy home? Why, Baba?
He was the truth I chose to omit.
You were wrong to abandon him.
I chose my people. I chose Wakanda. Our future depended
You
on...
were wrong! All of you are wrong! To turn your backs on the rest of the world! We let the fear of our discovery stop us from doing what is right. No more. I cannot stay here with you. I cannot rest where he sits on the throne. He is a monster of our own making. I must take the mantle back. I must right these wrongs. You have a blanket.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Please subscribe down below. Down below. There's pointing.
Down below.
Please subscribe, or else he's going to do that again. Maybe you like that. then he'll do it more.
Do you like my sexy voice?
Can't wait for you to have a girlfriend. I'm gonna be like, why?
You're gonna be like, what's wrong with her?
Why did you choose him? He's so funny.
He's funny. My other
All
three
right.
girlfriends are in the backyard.
All right. So we watched two scenes. The first one was T'Challa taking the heart-shaped herb and drinking it and then being buried.
The
So this
purple
is the
drink.
traditional Wakandan way. Shut up. The traditional Wakandan way of being the Black Panther. And then you saw a flashback of Captain America Civil War where T'Challa's dad died in the blast, and then he finally meets him in the ancestral plane. Great scenes first visually, and then also I love the music.
Yes.
So the music was actually done by this guy named Ludwig, who does like all the movie scores. Literally,
Yeah, he does Mando
everything.
too. Yeah.
Yep, he does everything, and also he was the producer for Childish Gambino. So,
Okay.
so yeah, he does everything. He actually went to Africa, like found all these different instruments, and then used them in the movie. Very talented guy.
Pretty cool.
But then after T'Challa was done talking to his father, we skip forward into the movie where we find Killmonger, who is the cousin of T'Challa. And we find out that T'Challa's dad killed Killmonger's father.
Yep.
And then, of course, Killmonger goes on a path of vengeance, and he finally, becomes a Black Panther himself. Then he defeats T'Challa in battle. Everybody thinks T'Challa's dead, and little do they know he's alive. He's kicking. But then skip to the second scene where T'Challa confronts his father and also all of his ancestors for not helping other people that needed help, especially with their technology, especially their own people that were in the U.S.
Yep.
There was a big thing with Killmonger's dad where he was explaining that all of these people are just dying, and their government's feeding them drugs
Poor and yeah, they're messing him over in every way.
Every way. And so he asks him for his help. Obviously, he dies. So T'Challa finally confronts his father and tells him, "Why didn't you take the boy? Why didn't you take him here?" And of course, his father was just. It felt like his father still felt he made the right decision, even though all of this was still happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can say that was maybe stubbornness, but I also think that he thought he was doing right by his people by
In the
not
right time.
allowing.
Yep.
Yeah. And, you can see it however you want. Me personally, obviously, learning on further in life, I think you would probably say, yeah, I probably screwed up there. Because they made this monster, like T'Challa said, which we'll be getting into. So, thoughts on the scenes, Naz?
As we talked about in the pre-production meeting, that's what we call them now with fancy pre-production meetings.
10 minutes of like sex jokes and then actually talking about material.
Jesus, when did we talk about? I don't remember that.
Whoops, maybe I was mistaken.
Yeah, it must be just in your head. Jesus,
that's how it usually goes. But okay, I'm the crazy one.
Yeah, you are. The scenes visually, some of the prettiest scenes that there are. Like I told you before, the first scene used to be one of my backgrounds.
Right.
I always love how Disney has like that tree. It's always that tree of wisdom, right? So it's like in Lion King. It's in so many different places, that tree. Then you add in the colors, the panthers in the background with their eyes. It's just gorgeous. Then you add in the music, and that's intense. And when you hear it in Black Panther 2, it's also still intense. And it's It sounds almost like a violin, right? It's dun 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 dun. Na 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 na. The violin's going.
Are you doing
Something
Monday Night Football? What is
oh, I end up getting fucking goosebumps every time that song plays. So that's also quite enjoyable. Then you get into the scene itself. First scene, he's so proud. Sees his father. He's excited because his father's, passed away, but he's excited to know that his father's the one that came to him in the ancestral plane.
Right.
Because that's his guider, his mentorship. He gives him some words of wisdom, as you've seen. It's like, why are you worried? Are you not prepared? Have you not trained your entire life? Have you not sat by my side? Everything that you need is already inside of you. You have the skills, talent, mind, everything. You've been tested. You're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then he makes the statement, you're a good man. Have some people around you. It's going to be tough to be a good man, a good person, and to be king, to be this leader. And it looks like that revelation comes true later on in the show, right? Because now the dad can't even really be mad at him because you already just said you're a good person. So the good person wouldn't make this unethical choice and let his uncle and his cousin die. So I mean that's part of the thing right there. Is it already showed you there was the prelude of the next scene, which is T'Challa goes and sees his dad again, and then the rest of the ancestors. He's like, y'all are trash. Y'all suck.
Y'all really let your people die, even though you could have helped them.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you could have just swooped them up in the battleship or whatever you got and zoomed off. Beam me up, Scotty.
Even that, or they could have just given their technology, and let them see another way instead of being in the slums and being in the bottom all
yeah,
your
they could have
life.
figured
You
out
could
a way
finally
to
see what it means.
Yeah, they could have figured out a way to infiltrate, right, and then start maneuvering their way. I mean, God knows everyone else did in the Marvel shows. Everyone gets infiltrated. Hydra's pretty much infiltrated damn near for like 100 years.
I know, and then you're just like, Hail Hydra. You're like, what?
Yeah.
These motherfuckers still alive?
Yeah,
What
it's like
the hell?
15 years of just Hail Hydra. And I'm like, for another one? Like, you couldn't get one Wakandan in there? Technically, there is, and there's Wakandan agents. Yeah.
But they don't really, like, do anything?
Yeah, they're just like in posts. They're posted around the world.
They're kind of like, what is it? Like, they're not able to act on anything.
Yeah,
like,
they're
just undercover to
they're
be
just
undercover.
spies. Yeah, but they don't do anything. Yeah. They're not like maneuvering things like Hydra. And so that's what Killmonger ends up activating. And then he's like, hey, we're going to take over the world. I'm going to send in the materials. And we're going to kill, for lack of a better word, some white folk.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's genocide.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And so, right, Killmonger, you could say, would be antisocial, sociopathic, kind of like we just did the episode on Stranger Things. What's the dude's name again?
Stranger Things.
Vecna.
Vecna, yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know if he's on Vecna's level.
No, definitely not. Well, Vecna, I don't think would have broken that tear and like sobbed about his dad, and then he got back up and he was like freaking out. So this is a young child that was hurt, devastated, seeking revenge on everyone. This is all a vengeance plot.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Like, not only was he, discriminated against, but also he was, he was left behind by his own people. So pretty much that's why he's such a loner, because nobody really took him in.
No one. Yeah, he went upstairs. His dad was dead.
Yeah.
Mess anybody up.
My uncle killed him. Nice.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you find that out later.
Right.
Yeah, it's a gross story, man. He has to grow up his entire life, and then he ends up finding ways to become the biggest, baddest thing that there is. And next thing you know, right, he becomes the Black Panther and takes the heart shape herb. And then he goes back and sees his dad, and he cries with him. And it's a pretty intense scene. It's one of my favorite scenes there. It's a lot of trauma there. And then he's pretty much telling his dad, "I'm gonna take over this." And his dad's like, "I didn't want this for you, but it looks like this is where we're at. You're not accepted." And then you get to the third scene that we looked at, technically the second scene on the YouTube video, and T'Challa says, "You screwed up," and he goes, we got to take care of this monster that we created.
Mm.
What did we do? What did you do? How could you have let this happen? For not only did we hurt all our people by not intervening, but then we created this individual that's going to kill everyone.
Mm.
And so your inability to enact has now actually caused the destruction of probably millions if he goes through with this, right? It's intense.
Mm.
So there's many different parallels to mental health that we can pull from this, and I think we're gonna take a little stab at it, just like how Killmonger died. Just one little stab.
Yeah, big ass spear in his chest.
A little stab.
Jesus.
So I'm gonna toss it back to you, boss. Where do you want to start off?
Let's
Dealer's
start
choice.
off. Let's start with the first scene, and kind of talk about the maybe the expectations that we set for ourselves that our ancestors or even like our parents set for us. And then how can we kind of maneuver our way to not only make ourselves happy, but then also try to get them happy as well. I think that'd be a good way to start.
Okay.
Yeah, I think personally with this scene, first of all, Chadwick Boseman killed this movie. He was just amazing.
Rest in peace.
God, yes, rest in peace. And then also Ryan Coogler, who directed this movie, and then he also directed all of the Creeds too. So pretty much anything with Michael B. Jordan, he has directed. It's pretty great. But yeah, so I think when we look at T'Challa, he's at first we think he's so much similar to his dad, right? We think like, oh, they're both great leaders. They're trying to lead their people to, to be even better, and to keep on growing. But then we really find out that, his dad had some skeletons in his closet that he was ashamed of.
Yep.
Right. So I think it's always important that even though we do see our parents as these figures that we can look up to, they're also human as well, and then they have to make really hard decisions for us to grow up in and to help us grow even further, and may even have to lie to us, just for the sake of us, still seeing us in that light. And with that, I kind of want to question, like, if you were if you were in T'Challa's shoes, how would you react to finding this out, that that your father has this kind of dark past of trying to protect his people? What would you kind of think or say? Would you be on the side with T'Challa, or would you be more of like understanding of your father because he had to make that choice? He thought he had to make that choice for his people.
Yeah. It's a tough one to say. You know me, man. I'm always the victim of, you don't know until you're in that exact situation at the exact time. So I kind of don't like folks who be, I know what I do. I do this. I'm like, motherfucker, you don't know what you do.
Right.
Because you don't have all the context. But let's say if it was a client I was working with, I'll say my own choice. I technically don't know, because I can see me going with Pops. And I can also see me having a ton of shame and anger towards Pops, for like leaving this one person behind. But I might also be able to rationalize and be like, it was for the best of the country. So I probably, my older self now, wouldn't be too mad, but also I would make sure that I could right the wrong as much as possible. Now, if all of a sudden there's monsters there and getting ready to genocide all these people, well, now I'd be more infuriated now, because look what you did. Look at the shit that you left me with. So it depends. But if I was in his shoes, I definitely would be pissed, because you just, homeboy just killed me, dog. Like, I'm going to be mad. Like, I'm in the Ancestral plane because I just died.
He's like, come here, son. You're with us now. I'm like, what?
Like, dog.
You killed me.
Why my bastard cousin just kill me, dog? Like, what the fuck? So that I would say maybe lean more towards T'Challa, right? Because you definitely just died. But in reality, something like that deep probably isn't going to happen. So maybe you can come to like a moral balance. But if I was working with a client like that,
Mm-hmm.
I would do their best to like, all right, sit back, analyze the situation, try to look at all the different angles, try to have some empathy before you completely burn this bridge with your parent figure. Understand that they had to do certain things, understand that they grew up in certain situations and things were different.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember, you know, I was a certain way with some family members and, I didn't really enjoy them a lot and I cut some folks off. And then you find out, some deep shit happens to them. It's really bad. And I'm like, okay, now I
Mm-hmm.
gained some more empathy and understanding, but it was after they passed that I found a lot of things out. I'm like, Jesus. I said, this is why they always said you got it easy. Always
Mm-hmm.
said you got it easy. You got it easy. And I'm like, okay, I mean, shit technically ain't easy, but it's much easier than what you went through in your past in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Right.
So I gained a lot of that. Right now, I'm currently speaking of moms after the funeral, and I got to talk to some of the aunties, and I got to find out, why the family was so messed up, and what was
Mm-hmm.
going on, and what was happening to the girls in that family, and the deep trauma. So I was like, okay, now it makes sense why Ma was kind of out there, but in
Right.
that perspective, she did very well by us.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
But she did very well for technically. She should have been much more broken than what she was. So, right, you gain empathy, you gain understanding. If you're in a place to forgive, there's a difference between forgiveness and forgetting. So you can like forgive people and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, but you don't have to forget the things that they did. You can still make sure you hold them accountable. So I work with many students that humans were horrible things have happened. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Things happen in relationships all the time, and things just happen. I'm like, all right, so you can work on some compassion and like slowly forgiving them, keeping a really good firm boundary, so you'll never get hurt again by these individuals. Then also keeping that line, that border open, that bridge open, if they so choose to change their behavior to where they can now become part of your life. So my clients, I'll be telling them like, they used to be like this, and you went a different way, and you're going a healthier way, and so they get to choose if they want to be in your life now. If they
Mm-hmm.
abide by your rules and are healthy and treat you with kindness, right, the way you want to be treated.
Right.
The sad thing is me and many of them know that their parents or their loved ones can never do it. They'll never be able to do it because they just don't have it, because there's something fundamentally broken and they won't change.
Mm-hmm.
And so my students will come to me and they'll be like, "Will my parent ever be able to love me?" And honestly, I think it's a no. So super sad. And
Right.
then some of the students, these are grown humans too. These ain't like 19-year-olds, bro. These are like 30-year-olds. And they just
Mm-hmm.
look at me and they said, "This is going to fuck me up for life." I said, "No, it's not, man. I've seen you in good, healthy relationships. You got joy most of the time."
Right.
It's complicated, bro. You got to have the
Mm-hmm.
context. You got to have some good boundaries. You got to be confident in who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, that parent shit will mess you up, because parents fuck up, bro. I'm going to fuck up. Colin's going to fuck up with his kid. My boy Moses
Mm-hmm.
going to fuck up with his kid. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah, of course.
Bro, I don't have it close to me. Moses sent me a Christmas gift, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a coffee mug. And it
Mm-hmm.
had pictures of his 2-year-old on there, year and a half. And in the middle says, "Future installments for the therapy needed." And it's a picture of the kid. So they already know they're gonna fuck the kid up.
You're like, you know what? Let's just put a plan down for
He
therapy
did. He
in the
said, "I got
future.
a payment plan for you now." I said, "Colin kid gonna need therapy before your kid." He started cracking up.
Well, not gonna get into that one. That's a little
But
tough.
I'm just trying to like support parents out there, man. You're gonna fuck up, it's fine.
Of course, and honestly, T'Challa's dad,
Yep.
he also had a big decision. He was a king, like,
He did the best that he
he's
thought he
not gonna
did
be
in the
perfect.
moment, man. Yeah, he did the
That's
best
what
that
I'm
he thought. I
saying.
can't even hate on it.
I can't either. Like, you want to, because he killed his brother, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you said, he wants to protect what he thought he needed to. Um, so okay, all right. Well, I also think that I love the scene where um, Killmonger is back in his old apartment. He's in the ancestral plane, and he goes into like this little hidden
Wall.
wall,
Yeah.
and he pulls out a notebook and finds the ring that his father had. And then once his father showed up, he becomes like this little child again,
Awesome.
right? Just like how he just got caught doing something, so now he feels like a little kid, and then that's what you see there, him being a little kid. um Honestly, I think that's such a great scene because it just shows that he still has that. He's still a child underneath all of that like
Hurting.
bruteness, all that muscle. Yeah. And his father asks, like, no tears for me. And he's like, people die. So already he's turned off his emotions towards the world and even his father. Um,
Yep.
Even though it's like his first time seeing him since he was a kid.
Yep.
Which just shows how his environment was around him, just people dying everywhere, whether it was drugs or violence.
AIDS.
Yeah, AIDS too, because yeah, it
Yep.
was around the
In that
80s, I
time.
think, 80s,
Yep.
90s. So
Yep.
um, it was just a great scene, and I love the fact that we do get to see that child side of Killmonger just for a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just straight trauma. So I would say that's a trauma fracture, trauma split in the kid's mind. And
Right.
so when we go to do therapy, we're trying to heal the little one inside, the little one that needed someone to love them, to be them, to support, to protect them. And he's just a shivering shell. And he's crying because, he misses his father. He's sad. He's lost. He's afraid. He's angry. And so it's an intense scene. And so the first scene, you see the joy, and he says, "Father, I'm not ready." He said, "You're ready." No, 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 no. I'm not ready to be without you. So the second ancestral plane, when Killmonger's there, right? He wasn't ready to be without his father yet again. So it's another emotional connection lost.
Right.
Charles was when he was a grown man and ready to take the helm. This is a young boy traumatized. It's intense, and so you can therapize that many different ways: losing a father, losing a loved one, losing a mother, your childhood being fractured, being, let's say, even if you was an affluent family, your family members, if they're fluent, they might be both working, and so you're alone. You're maybe with a nanny or something like that. You're not getting the love from them. You're getting from other people. They're highly successful and busy.
Right.
Maybe you're adopted, and so there's some things going on. Maybe they died too, and you got to live with grandma, so you're still getting love, but there's always that wondering, where's dad at, where's mom at, where's my birth parents, my bio parents. So that's a thing that can mess up with a lot of people, man. Leaves a lot of questions.
Right.
With my humans, like I said, even the ones that are fluent, parents ain't even there. Boy, they would say, I would never want to be poor and like Killmonger and his dad was dead or gone, or my deadbeat dad just took off. Well, yeah, but your parents were there the whole time and they still chose not to love you. They was in your house every day. That fucks my kids up, bro. And I'm like, I get it, the privilege, but like, damn. It's intense.
And kind of just seeing like all these different parents and how they've raised their children makes you go like, damn, you have to really put in the work.
You do
to be a parent. You can't just sit around and act like your kid's just going to grow up and be somewhat like just efficient in the world. It's just not going to happen. I mean, okay, sure, T'Challa, and Killmonger. Technically, they both rose to very successful parts of their life. Yeah. Like Killmonger was like a badass in the U.S. military, and
he was a Navy. He was either a SEAL or he was one of them.
He was a Marine, wasn't he?
Maybe he was a Marine. He was way up there.
Yeah, so he was way up there, and he did all that in spite of where he came from, right? But a lot of the time, those are just stories that not everybody can do that.
Very
not everybody
rare.
Can just it's a very rare thing, and you have to have like realistic goals, not only for yourself but for your kids too. Like they're not going to be like these huge things all the time. You want them to be, but at the same time, it's like you
A
have to
lot
have
of us are
those
just
realistic
a lot of us are
goals,
just
man.
average people, man. Like you said, realistic
Yeah,
goals. Can you be happy and make your way in the world? Like it's 1 in a million something billion to win the lottery, 1 in something 1,000 million to make it to the pros, right? And in
right.
sports, I'm thinking of someone like the Chicago Bulls, Philly, and now Miami. You got Jimmy Butler, right?
Mm,
And he grew up
yeah,
homeless and stuff like that, no family, and then now he's one of the biggest, baddest stars that there is. He's getting old now. He's one of my favorites. A lot
right,
of people don't like him because he's a little crazy, but he wants to win. And to me, I think he's a
right.
dog. A dog
Best
meaning
people.
good folks. And so there's some folks that can do it.
Yeah,
But it's not many. And so having that support of your father, parent, guardian, grandma, I mean, it
right.
means a lot, man. And then you fast forward
And,
to the last scene when you start to confront the people, even if they were in your life the whole time, you realize that you can
mhm,
diverge from their trainings, their teachings. And so I
right.
was thinking of that scene, like my kids that feel disenfranchised because of certain things. So it could be they toss away their religion. They're like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to college. I'm not going to get real into this Christianity. I'm not going to this Islam, Catholicism. Like, I think I'm just going to chill on that. I hit it straight in high school, but I might be queer. I might be questioning. I might be gay. I might be asexual. And I've been acting like I have like want to be with partners, but I just want to like chill in my room and play video games. You got some
Right.
students that come out, as trans and they're having panic attacks and they feel incongruent. I'm talking about those kids, they got to hide and then they finally come to my offices and then we can start doing some real work and some healing and get away some of this nasty suicidal stuff, mental health stuff. They can start living a life, which is intense for
Right.
a lot of my students because now if they start to come out or be their true selves, disowned from the family, it's some tough stories. My students that are gay, right? They
Right.
can't tell their parents. I got students that tell their parents. Like, hey, I got a partner. They're like, I don't want to know. Or like, they'll be like, hey, I'm going to get married. Do you want to come? They said, no. Like, damn.
Mm,
Like, this is your kid. You love your kid, supposedly. They're going to get married
right.
and he ain't even going to go? Like, it's tough, man. I've had a lot of humans cry in my office because of certain things. And I mean, I get it. You're stuck in your ways. I get it. I worked at a Catholic university, so there's a lot of things that are taboo. But like, damn,
Right.
you're just going to throw away your whole kid? So don't have to do exactly what your parents did. God knows I
Sure.
learned a lot from my parents, good and bad. I learned a
Right.
lot of stuff on what not to do. A lot of stuff from both parents on what not to do. I also learned a lot of stuff that's really fucking awesome that makes me a badass therapist.
Yeah.
And that makes me a tiger, a lion.
Hmm.
I told Spence the other day, and I'm going to switch it back to you. I told Spence the other day, I said, some humans came at me at work.
Hmm.
And by humans, I mean, some higher rankings. And they said, Nas, I'm glad you apologized. I said, hold up now. I didn't apologize for anything. I'm not sorry
Hmm.
for what happened or what I did. It won't
Right.
happen again, and I'll make the corrections moving forward. But what I did was right for students because my number one goal is students. So I thought I was serving the student. Unless I
Right.
will not apologize for that. I will hold myself accountable knowing that I broke some rules to move some things around. What I'm doing is trying to serve my population, my people. But technically, I work for a company, this and that. And so I took my lashes. Why I tell you this? Because, sometimes I told Spence, I don't just apologize. I got to legit mean it. I'm not just going to say
Yep.
something. Sometimes I hold myself accountable and I apologize. Don't get twisted. I apologize all the time because I fuck up all the time. Learn that from Pops.
Mm.
Mom ain't never apologized. I don't give a damn. She'd rather stab you before she apologizes. At least Dad will do it.
What'd you say?
Step. Yep.
You bumped into me. Ah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, Mom's a trooper. If you would have met her, Spence, she would have been like, whoa. But she was tenacious. And so that's where I get my ferocity from. It's not actually from Pops, it's from her.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to toss it back to you. Second
Yeah.
scene. How does one like you take the
Yes.
second scene as well? Because I took it in, you don't have to do what your parents did. You can diverge.
Right. Yeah. I think for me, I mean, I agree with you can diverge, but I also think that you can, like you said, you can take things that you learned and just implement them, right? You can pick apart little things that you want to take away from your parents and then translate into yourself. I think that's a big deal. Because if you're exactly like your parents, then where's the growth in time? Like, times change. You have to adapt and you have to be different, or else then what's the point? What's the
Yeah, you
point
got to
in
learn.
just, yeah, why would I teach my kids to be the same as me and it's like 30 years later? It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Um but I do think that T'Chaka and his all of his ancestors really made the choices for their people because they've seen what's happening in America and what other countries
Yep.
too, um what's happening to their people, so they wanted to make sure that nobody could take advantage of that and that
Yep.
they can write their own history themselves, which I have to respect.
Yep.
Even though I do think that people, they should have opened their doors a lot sooner because a lot of people are hurting and they need positive people to look at, people that feel like they're royalty even though they're not. Even like you can see in like even in the scenes where like they're in Wakanda in the streets, everybody just seems happier, everybody just seems like they're their own person and they don't have to worry about anything else. I was telling Nas that I watched an episode of Snowfall. It's the story of how crack came into America, right?
Yep.
And just like all of these different black and brown folks just trying to make it in America, right? Doing whatever it is, even if it's selling drugs, killing people, gangs, and all that stuff. In the last scene, or in the last episode, they go to Ghana, um, and they show this port where slavery happened, um, and how this one tribe finally, anytime in this tribe that they fought, the loser would go into slavery, right? But then all of a sudden, Europeans came, and then they changed everything that happened with that. Um, if we don't learn from like our past digressions, it's not going to get any better, right?
Yep.
There's still slavery going on and people selling their own people and stuff like that. And it's,
Yeah, there's slavery going on in America right now with a lot of migrant workers, a lot of people fighting
you can
fires in
say with sex
California.
workers.
Yeah, sex workers,
Yeah,
people fighting fires in California. Those are mostly inmates, people making like a quarter an hour.
right.
People don't know that.
Yeah.
Those are inmates out there.
Mm-hmm. And I bring all this up because a lot of the times in the Wakandans wanted to make sure that that didn't ever happen again, that
Yep.
they would never have to bow down to anybody else again. Um, and so I can't really go against T'Chaka because I feel like he made the right decision in that moment,
Yep.
even though he did kill his brother. But, you know,
He thought his brother
yeah,
was lost. He betrayed the
yeah,
family and the country, and thus it is,
right.
it's treason. Uh, yeah, I guess heavy is the crown, heavy is the head that holds the crown, right? I mean, you got to make some hard choices.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes, tough choices. It's a tough world. Looks like T'Challa wants to make it a different world, a peaceful world. He has more
Hmm.
empathy and wants to care for everyone, all his people, black people, and not just
Right.
Wakandans.
Hmm.
And it's kind of scary because now that we're moving on in these episodes and we're in the next phase, right?
Hmm.
And we see Black Panther 2, and you see that all these folks, Americans, they just want to use everything for destruction and war. All these white folks are coming in to take the weapons. And then you got Neymar's like, hey, man, You open this bag of worms up, what you gonna do now? Because now you affecting my people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? My Mayan people, my underwater humans and stuff like that. And okay, you need to take care of this because now if you don't, I'm gonna kill you. And I got the people to do it. They figure out, of course, how to do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Black Panther 2 on Wednesday. So this will be Monday shoot. Wednesday we're gonna do part 2. So I'm not really gonna get into that real quick. I'm not, but it is interesting how they got brown folk versus black folk, and it's really all white folks' problem, like starting the shit. I just thought that was interesting. They're always trying to make brown and black folk go at it, when really the Baba Yaga, the monster, is the other person. But different. We'll talk about that tomorrow or Wednesday, 2 days.
Right.
So we get into this scene, and he talks about the monster that we created. I gotta go take care of this. He's on the throne. He's gonna kill all these people. This is this monster.
Right.
So there's a couple different things to break down. The Killmonger scene is all about trauma, child, loss, grief, anger, and vengeance. So one can use that scene to relate that into therapy, to use that with your therapist, right? To let emotions out. The first scene is all about father, love, anxiety, mostly anxiety about not being prepared, and then grief of your father leaving you. What are you going to do without them? Mostly fear. It's all anxiety. Father's saying, like a therapist would say, you're prepared. You've done this, 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 and this, and this. You'll never be perfect. Never be perfect. But a lot of things will be permanent muscle memory, and you'll be good. They'll be permanent within you. I have taught you. But the anxiety in us keep going, man. Oh, what if this? What if that? What if this? I'm going to fuck it up. The third scene, right, that we looked at, when he goes back to him, it's probably when we screw up and then we get real negative on ourselves and we start to spiral, or that depression. A couple folks commented on the YouTube. I'm sorry for making a nasty face there. A couple folks commented on the YouTube, and really sad stuff and like really traumatic stuff. And they're like, I'm depressed, or man, this or that, or I'm going to live in my sorrows and my sadness. And, you see a lot of that people in therapy. And they're feeding that monster. They're feeding it. They're feeding it. And they're feeding it. So what am I saying that? They're doing all the things that they technically, if you want to be sad, do them. So if you want to make sure that your sleep habits are bad, then you'll continue to watch TikTok and Instagram reels all night. You make sure that your diet's super trash. You'll sleep in too late. Maybe you need to get outside and get some sunlight. Maybe just go for a walk. Maybe exercise. Maybe take some supplements. Maybe get therapy. Maybe take medication. But a lot of people won't do those things. And it's like a one-way trip to hell, one-way trip to prison. It's just tank city. And it's really hard to get some people to course correct, Really hard. They create this monster and it's so big that they'll never overcome it. And I'll be in there trying to fight it. Stab, stab. And they don't even let me fight it. They'll take my damn little stabby, my little fork, and they'll take it away from me. So now I'm like, oh, okay. So now I'm supposed to do, now I get clobbered by the boogeyman. Yeah. It's some bullshit, man. But you can see clients, they'll strip me of almost everything. That won't work. This won't work. That won't work. This won't work. I've tried that. Didn't work. I'm like, oh, shit. I mean, I guess you could just stay sad.
Hey, that's all I know.
But why? That's all you know. That's what they technically say. And I'm like, all right, so do you want to stay in that, or do you want to get out of it? Well, I wouldn't be here if I didn't want to get out of it. Then why aren't you heeding of any of the advice? What's holding you back from taking these steps, these small steps of action? It's intense. Some people like to stay in that victim role. Some people get attention from it. Some people rather not try, because if they do try and they still suck, that's even worse. So you might as well not even try, because technically you never failed because you never fucking tried. But Jordan, Kobe, like, shit, if I fail, big deal. I'm going to come back at you even harder the next play, and even harder the next play. And you're going to have to kill me before I quit.
Yeah.
Well, other people are like, I'm going to just go ahead and quit. Talk to you later.
Hey, I'm going to quit before you get to me, so.
Yeah,
You're
I'm going to
welcome.
leave you before you leave me.
Hey, Vecna, why don't you just do it right now?
Yeah, please kill me.
Just do it. Just go ahead.
Just do it. I'm not even gonna fight you. I'm not even the bloody nose thing. I'm not even into it right now. Like I don't even. My nose is like dry and shit. Like
I have nasal problems, so if you could just,
I'm still drinking
tone
my
down,
Starbucks.
right?
So if you just wait a few minutes.
Jeez. All right, we're getting it.
I know. I'm sorry.
You love Starbucks, so don't even say that.
I've had like 3 times my whole life. Chill out.
Exactly, and you loved it those 3 times.
It was good. It was good. It was good. It was good. Another direction you can take that scene is deviating from the culture, as I talked about. So I work with a lot of folks of color. Like I already talked about, some of the queer folks that I work with, LGBTQ population, where they can diverge from the norms, the social norms, the family norms. But also, I have a lot of folks that are in relationships, could be married. I got to work with a lot of Asian folks, East Asian, and it's a lot of issues with the family. Very hard family pressure, work, especially with a lot of my Pakistani Indian students. High anxiety, parents calling them like daily, sometimes talking to them. You're doing your work. You're doing this. When you coming back? What's going on? And if they don't answer the phone, the family starts to freak out. Like, what are you doing? So my students can't even set any boundaries because they've been stripped from them their entire childhood. Fosters a lot of anxiety and self-doubt. They can't even function sometimes. I get students that work through their undergrad. They finally get to grad school and like, shit, man, I got to be my own person. Like, I got to do something. I haven't even lived. I've been stuck in my room for 4 years, plus stuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much anxiety with my international students. It doesn't matter really where they're from. If they're Arab nations too, it's intense. And I'd be like, I would never say this. Just cut them off. Like, that's not a thing in other countries. And these collectivist communities, countries, it's not a thing. Where in America, we just don't talk to family, or we don't talk to anyone because we're individualistic. It's all about thyself. It's more selfish. But over there, it's different. And so we have a lot of conversations about things. And I have some humans that are married, and they're like, yeah, I can't get divorced. I'm like, all right, so you talk to the couples counsel. They say get divorced. So now you coming to me to do some marriage counseling, but just one-on-one. I'm like, bro, what you want me to tell you that the other person, the white lady, didn't tell you? Oh, because I'm a Arab too. Like, I'm going to understand you more. Yep, I understand you. Also, I know you're getting physically, mentally, emotionally abused. And so it might be time to leave. So I told the human, this is most philosophical and smooth as I've been in a long time.
Oh, here we go.
It was good.
Here we go.
It was good, but I was in my box today. I said, you can live your life with the shame of the divorce and the shame of your people, or you can live in misery married. So you can be free and single and move on, but you'll live with that shame, or you'll be married and live with the misery and the terror of what's to come. You've told me that you would never have children with this person because you know that they would hurt you and possibly hurt them. It seems like a sign that it's not right. How old are you? Oh, okay. So, maybe you'll live 50, 60, 70 years. You're going to live with this for that long? Maybe the parents will get over it, right? Maybe you can ask for forgiveness from your deity, your God. Or maybe you'll just go right to hell. But you're going to live in hell if you stay in this one direction. And I'm not supposed to tell you my opinion, and I'm not telling you my opinion. But clinically speaking, you ain't going to be able to take much more of this, and maybe you'll get in trouble. You're going to get the police called on you. Something's going to happen. You're already getting physically abused. How much more can you take that? And so for some of my folks, this is right. Some of it is males too. So this is a male. So it's tough. And so I know it's tough for a lot of people in these abusive relationships to get out. You're married. It could be even harder if you got kids. Then you got to think about the economics about this thing. You have apartments, right? What are you going to do with the bills? They paying this, they paying that. So this is when you start to be like, hey, maybe I'm American. And maybe I am being more selfish and self-centered. to tell you some of these things. Why would I want you to be scared your entire life? Why would I want you to be in pain? That's not me being an American. That's me caring for you, the human that's in front of me.
Right.
Ain't got nothing to do with my culture here in America, me being individualistic. This is talking about you. And so we have these conversations with these international students, right? And they hear it, but they also, it's hard to move forward in some of these things. I have some of my humans, they say, I could never marry this person. Well, why not? Oh, they're a different race. Okay.
Look at me.
Well,
I'm fucking perfect, and I'm biracial.
yeah. Well, I mean, this was a person from Saudi, and they're married. This was an Afghani woman, and they're seen as less than, and this and that, in the eyes, and so we
Right.
had a lot of talks, and we worked months and months and months, and we untangled a lot of racism. I said, how can you love someone so deeply and yet you're so terrified to tell your father? We finally get the nerve to tell the father. The father's like, hey, fucking man, if you're happy, awesome. I'm miserable with your mom.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're happy, go with it, brother. For real.
Pakistani bitch is terrible. Go somewhere else, son.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. And so you'd be surprised on how the parents actually want you to be happy. And they always tell me the same thing, all of them. But society, motherfucker, you don't even see society that much. Like, why they got to be all in your business?
And don't get me wrong, like there's still like some people like problems like interracial, whatever. But let's be real, a lot of people don't give a shit.
A lot of people don't care.
Give a shit.
A lot of people.
Yeah, especially like if somebody like say for example, if somebody was like Chinese with somebody like Vietnamese. No one cares. No one gives a shit. They're just like, whatever, dude.
And I'm also like, a lot of y'all is in different countries now. You're not even back home. And thus the society won't even know because you living in the States, you living in Europe.
Yeah.
Like you're safe. You've high degrees. It's things to think about. Your family's met them. They love them. If your family loves them, so be it. You can deal with the backlash because the people closest to you got your back.
Right. Yeah. And let's be honest, like when my mom and dad were together, like, black and white, like in the 80s, 90s, like that shit could get you killed.
Yep.
Like it could really get you killed. My mom was telling me how like my sister when she was about to be born, there was a Ku Klux Klan meeting outside of the hospital in Fontana, California.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Good times. Good people.
Great times. Great clothing.
Good people, both sides. Good people on both sides.
Yes, both sides. Both sides. Both sides.
That's sarcasm, people. I'm making a funny reference.
I'm making a funny reference, so laugh.
No, I'm just making sure that I'm not, validating any Klansmen. Jesus.
So yeah, I think we've gone a little bit further in society since then. A little bit,
yes,
just a little bit,
a little bit.
Especially when it comes to like interracial marriages, unless you watch You People on Netflix, that shit movie. Yeah, I just.
What's
I just think that.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, what's a better racial movie? Oh my God, I forgot it. The Big Sick. Have you seen that one? It's with the comedian.
I think you've mentioned it.
The funny dude from The Internal.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. And so, Jesus, it's a tough movie. I mean, he's damn, I can't remember if he was Pakistani or Indian in that movie. Mm-hmm. But his parents are, Asian, and then he likes this white girl, and then he wants to stay with this white girl, and then they break up because of all this stuff, and then she gets cancer, and then he ends up getting back with her, and then nurses are back to health, and it's a good thing. And it's a true story of him and his wife.
Oh wow.
So it's about all the drama of being Muslim, and then this white girl, and then and it's awesome. It's quite wonderful movie. Ratings are pretty high on it. It was a low budget indie film, but it's definitely worth a watch, and it's like spot on as well. And so what's interesting with that is it's it's a subculture, right? These are these cultures that aren't just necessarily super Americanized. They are international families that are living in the States. And so that racial divide is a little bit more intense. And so we can say a lot of interracial things are better, but in these certain pockets or subsections in other countries, it's very much alive.
Fair enough.
Also,
Fair enough.
like in some of these other countries, homophobia is punishable by death. Or not homophobia, being gay is punishable by death. And so, you know, it's intense coming out, fighting the cultural norms of your family and your ancestors in these places could be intense.
Right.
And so, as a therapist, you know, you're being your best to be cautious, to be kind, to be considerate of like what they're coming from and what they're going through. But in situations I've been put in this last week, I'm like, bro, I'm not going to be sorry right now. Like, you're going to end up getting in trouble and getting kicked out of school. What's your family going to say then? What they going to say then? So you're going to move forward on this divorce? And then everything changed. They said, you know, I heard your words in the car the other day. I heard your words when things were happening, and I decided not to react. I heard your words to don't do anything, be relaxed, be stoic, don't react. I said, good, it saved you. Because if you would have done something, you would have been in big time trouble. Deported, kicked out of school, right? Yeah. Arrested. It was bad news. So you did good. So now you need to be safe. You need to get yourself out of the house, stay with some friends, right? And then finish your schooling and you'll be done. You'll figure out the rest later. You'll figure it out. Be safe first. I'm going to set you up with these resources for these other places. They'll hook you up. And they said, so what about this divorce thing? Should I do the paperwork now? I said, damn, you already talking about paperwork. I said, that was quick.
Like, no, it's serious. Talk about paperwork.
Serious. I said, you ain't even got the mental capacity to do paperwork right now. So wait till you graduate in 2 months. Then you do the paperwork. I'll set you up with these people. They'll help you out with it. I said, Nas, you're so good. You know so many things. They said, yeah, I can't spell one of these motherfucking things I told you about, but I know a lot of things.
I love how you always have to implement some type of compliment somebody gives you, and you're just like, I'm actually a dumb piece of shit. Just so you know.
I'm actually a piece of shit.
I hope that whenever somebody hears like my voice in this situation, they're just like, leave that crazy bitch. Leave her now.
That bitch is crazy,
dog. Fuck that hoe. She ain't shit.
Oh my God. My voice. I try my best to like. So I'm like my father's neurodivergent ass, where he keeps being super repetitive, and he'll tell me the same thing like 50 different times. And so now I do that with my clients. I'm like, one more again. Repeat that shit back to me. We're going to write this shit down now. Let's get it out. And we'll get the whiteboard out. And then we'll get to writing shit down. Yeah, I know. My kids are like traumatized. Real quick.
Yeah.
I like I said, I got in trouble with the bosses. Because I was moving some stuff around on my schedule, making more room for my current clients and not new clients. And I said, I was overbooked from day one this semester. Overbooked from day one. No one else. He said, I noticed that. I said, you know why? He said, yeah, I know why. I said, all the people that you met for that at the end of the semester, we all had to meet all these new clients. One time at the end of the semester. One time, and then we send them off. All of mine returned. He said, you were the only one to have that many returners. Everyone else, maybe one or two, if that, out of like 20. Mine was almost all. He said, what are you doing in there? I said, I don't know. He said, be less nice. I said, my father said the same thing. I talked to my supervisor. She said, it's not in you to change the way you do therapy. I said, no, it's not. I just got a fucking accommodation from one of the provosts, one of the highest people at the school because of my work with students. But you're telling me to be less real, to help them less. And then I have this young man sits in front of me.
Corporate.
Yes. Young man sits in front of me today. He said, you're so helpful. He said, I'm a social worker, brother. I'm going to help you out with everything, not just this one fucking thing. But the supervisor told me that's when I'm messing up. I'm working on too many things. I said, okay, I get it. I feel pulled in many different directions. And so how I'm going to relate this back to the movie. You got your ancestors and your people, the corporate or the bosses, right? And you don't always have to do what they want you to do. You can make it your own. As T'Challa did. He made it his own. He made his own choices, and he'll live and die by those choices. I think that's what we all need to take from these scenes in these episodes. Even Killmonger.
Mm-hmm.
If you find something that you believe in, I guess, ride or die, let's run towards it.
Right.
Maybe you can seek some consultation along the way so you don't end up trying to become genocidal.
Yeah, let's not try to murder everybody. You know?
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
It depends.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Sarcasm, people.
Yes, I'm joking. Where am I?
Like Nit says on New Girl, you'll never see it coming.
One of the best, one of the best rewatchable shows. Everybody wants to watch The Office, Friends, New Girl. That's my go-to.
It is. You know what's funny is that I'll bring it up to some of the homies and everyone loves it, and then I'll bring it up to like certain pockets and they'll be like gross, and I'm like, what? They'll be like, oh yeah, they're just so racist in that show. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff that gets thrown around, some things. I'm like, okay,
but it's funny.
Also chill. Like, this is comedy. Smith's Jewish. He's making a lot of Jewish jokes. They're making fun. They're like, he's known to be kind of controversial and racist, and so they're making fun of him being ignorant. They're showing him being ignorant and then people correcting him on it.
And they just have so many different people in there, right? Like, you don't have the same person when you have Winston or Coach or anybody. Like, they're different.
There's so many
right?
different people.
Yeah. Because that's what it is. It's individuality, right? But they're racist. Shut the fuck
and
up.
then I get it. There's a lot of racial things, tones that are said, but then also I get that part, but also it's a different type. It's not, most of this is satire. Most of this is making fun of people being ignorant. And then they'll be like, well, the fat phobic on the show. And okay, maybe they do get a little weird with some diets and being fat and shit like that. Trust me, bro. I've heard so many negative things about New Girl. I'm like, bro, y'all need to chill, bro.
Chill out. Just enjoy.
You're going to cancel this show? Someone said this show couldn't even come out these days. I'm like, yeah, you need to stop.
It came out like 5 years ago.
I know. I'm like, y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop.
That's ridiculous.
Humans are interesting, bro. I just kind of roll with it. I'm just like, okay, one thing about like these Black Panthers, sorry to diverge back and out.
No, please.
It is so well done, like you were saying, with all the different culture aspects, the materials, the clothing. Like, I've seen some of the documentaries about it and how they just made sure everything was authentic and genuine. Another thing that makes it very enjoyable.
Yeah, totally.
The planning.
Planning.
Sorry, it lagged out on there. Yeah, just the planning and strategy that went into making that movie. Tense.
Oh, yeah. I know. They did a lot of research on just the different tribes and everything.
Yep.
That was amazing. Just seeing even the dudes with like the big like plates in his lip and everything like that.
Yep.
You're just like, oh, okay, all right, different tribes of Africa. All right, fair enough.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's what. And I don't know what's going to be in the future, especially for Black Panther without Chadwick Boseman. I know that they have Shuri in there, but it's just a different. It's just so different.
Well, Shuri will just be a transition until T'Challa Jr. takes over because, right, it has to be T'Challa.
But we don't even know how fucking long that's going to take.
Yeah, I would assume that's just an interlude, and then maybe they'll never get to it, but who knows?
You know, I mean, I hope that they have another T'Challa, just because it's such a great character, and I think a lot of people, especially young Black men, they really need to see just a positive just role model in that sense, right?
Yep.
Just a positive just image.
Yep.
Like him. So hopefully they come back with something like that, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so that is all for today.
Yep.
Like we said before, please subscribe down below. Also hit that like button, hit the share button. Also, watch out for our website / merch that will be coming out soon.
Yep. We got
I'm gonna
t-shirts.
order some samples.
Yep. we got some jeggings coming out, and this is gonna have
Jeggings.
2 slices of cheese on the butt.
Yep, and the model's gonna be my ass. So watch out for that.
But that's a dump truck there, boy. That boy got some junk.
Like, even straight men are gonna be like, God damn, boy, what the
God damn. What you gonna fit me? Did you kill a cheetah? It's a throwback to Road Trip.
I can't. By the way, before we go, I told Dom that we're probably going to be driving back to Indiana from Kentucky, and I was like, "Get ready for this road trip because here's a little sample of what you would get if you went on the 3-week road trip that we would go on."
Yep.
It's going to be great. She's going to be passed out. She's going to be overstimulated.
Oh, it's fine. She just put in her headphones and Zoom. You get the zoomies.
I know.
Chill out.
She could. Yeah.
Yep.
I told her that. I was like, you just put your headphones in and chill. Be fine.
Yeah. Real quick. Heads up, folks. Me and Spence will actually be shooting on location. We should start hyping this up. So we'll be shooting on location coming in May. All things going according to the plan. And so we should be making some pit stops in Kansas City. And then Utah. And then we're going to go to Yosemite, and then hopefully we can hit some national parks up north. And then we just kind of see how
as we're murdered by either animals or white people.
Cocaine bears.
Cocaine bears or meth gators, as they're going to make another movie.
Gator meths. Meth gators. Or just white people.
We'll see.
Yep.
All right, folks. I'm Spencer. That's Nazir. And this is the Different Spectrums Podcast.
Peace, everyone. Much love. Toodles.
Wakanda forever.
I ain't going to appropriate that, so I'm going to just toodles.
So you're taking Nixon?
I said toodles. Toodles.
I am not a crook.
Well, I went to go do the fist, and then I got scared that I was going to get canceled. So then I started.
You're like, black people.
I love black people. Okay, I'm done.
Black people.
Bye, everyone.